Welcome, everyone. If you are joining us right now, I want you to take a second to just pause and really look at the professional landscape around you.
Right. Just take it in.
Yeah, take it in. We are fully immersed in the year 2026. And look, let's be entirely honest with each other about what we're seeing out there. The job market is chaotic.
That is the word for it. It really is.
The old rules of career planning, the traditional ladders we were all taught to climb back in school, they haven't just been rewritten. They have been completely thrown out the window, shredded, and tossed into the wind.
Oh, absolutely.
But that is exactly why you are here with us today for this deep dive. We are talking directly to you, the professional who is trying to navigate this rapid transformation without losing your footing.
Because it certainly feels like the ground is shifting under our feet daily, doesn't it?
Yeah, constantly.
The sheer velocity of change and how we work, how we are evaluated, and how we deliver value, it is just unprecedented. I mean, we're watching entire industries restructure their operational models in real time.
And that brings us to the core focus for today's deep dive. We've been analyzing a fascinating stack of materials revolving around an AI-powered talent mobility platform that's called SkillDrift.
SkillDrift, right.
We have been digging through their entire digital footprint, basically trying to understand how people are actually adapting to this market. And that includes their YouTube channel, their highly active LinkedIn page, which, by the way, is absolutely loaded with market updates, data, and leadership insights, and of course their individual user platform, which is packed with real-world testimonials from people navigating these exact shifts.
And I think the breadth of that material is what makes this exploration so compelling. We aren't just parsing through, marketing copy or theoretical white papers here.
No, not at all.
We are analyzing real-time data and user experiences from professionals who are actively figuring out how to survive and thrive right now. It provides a very clear window into the mechanics of the modern career.
Exactly. So our mission for this deep dive is to extract the ultimate survival guide for the modern professional based on those mechanics. We are setting out to understand how to stop blindly guessing about our next career move, how to identify and bridge our emerging skill gaps, and most importantly, how to use the very AI that supposedly threatens our jobs to actually future-proof our careers. Okay, let's unpack this.
Framing it as a survival guide is highly appropriate, I think, because it is so easy to look at the 2026 job market and see an insurmountable crisis.
It's terrifying for a lot of people.
But if we analyze what the data and platforms like SkillDrift are revealing, this isn't a crisis of a lack of opportunity. It is a complex puzzle.
Right.
And it is a puzzle that is entirely waiting to be solved, provided you're willing to evaluate the pieces differently than you did even 5 years ago.
Yeah, and the first critical piece of that puzzle is diagnosing the underlying problem. SkillDrift's literature introduces a concept they call the drift.
The drift.
I read their definition and it immediately resonated. It's the perfect articulation of a very modern anxiety. They describe the drift as that sinking feeling that, despite the fact that you are working incredibly hard, showing up every day, and executing your job flawlessly, your actual market value is slowly and silently eroding away.
What's fascinating here is the underlying mechanism driving that erosion. Because the drift isn't happening because professionals are becoming lazy.
Right, they're working just as hard.
Exactly. It is happening because AI is actively unbundling roles.
Unbundling.
Yes. The job you were hired to do 3 years ago likely does not exist in that exact same form today. The component tasks that used to make up a single job description have been separated out, automated, or augmented by machine intelligence.
Wow.
And their market updates point out a stark reality regarding this shift. The half-life of a learned skill is now less than 5 years.
Less than 5 years. That statistic really puts the acceleration into perspective, because if the half-life of a skill is under 5 years, something you mastered in 2021 is already depreciating in value.
Depreciating fast.
And because of that rapid depreciation, SkillDrift's market analysis makes a very bold, definitive claim. They state that the static PDF resume is officially dead in 2026. Handing a hiring manager a piece of paper listing what you accomplished 3 years ago is essentially offering them an outdated historical document.
It is entirely historical in a market that only prices future capability.
Right.
The market no longer cares what you did. It cares about how quickly you can adapt to what needs to be done tomorrow.
Which means the traditional 5-year plan has to be completely thrown out. I mean, planning for 2031 is an exercise in fiction when the technological landscape of 2027 is still coming into focus.
That's a great way to put it.
So instead of these massive decade-long trajectories, the platform shifts the focus entirely towards something they call the adjacent possible and the 6-month sprint.
Mm.
It breaks dynamic career mapping down into 4 very clear, actionable steps, starting with what they term the DNA check.
The DNA check is a brilliant starting point because it forces a granular analysis of your current actual skills completely divorced from your past job titles,
Completely divorced.
right? It asks you to deconstruct your daily workflow. What are the core cognitive and technical components you actually use today?
Taking inventory of those raw capabilities fundamentally changes the trajectory. For example, a professional might have the title of marketing manager, but a DNA check reveals their actual marketable skills are advanced prompt engineering, predictive data analysis, and cross-functional team alignment.
Exactly.
Once you establish that baseline DNA, the platform moves you into the second phase, which is the 6-month sprint. You identify next-level roles that are reachable within a tight 4 to 6 month horizon. It grounds your ambition in immediate, pragmatic reality.
And that tight horizon prevents the paralysis that comes from looking too far ahead.
Right, keeps you moving.
Once that 6-month target is locked in, the third step involves building what they call bite-sized bridges. So instead of the outdated model of returning to a university for a multi-year degree to pivot careers,
Which nobody has time for anymore.
exactly, users leverage hyper-targeted microlearning resources. These bridges are designed to close the very specific identified gaps standing between a user's current DNA and their 6-month goal.
And building those bridges leads directly to the fourth and final step, which is unlock the unknown. As you acquire these targeted micro skills, the platform's AI engine constantly recalculates your market fit, revealing hidden career paths.
It's incredible to see in action.
It really is. It is incredibly reminiscent of a video game skill tree. You unlock one new technical ability or strategic framework, and suddenly 3 new industry paths open up that were completely invisible to you before, just because your skill profile now matches their requirements.
It creates a continuous loop of mobility. You are never static. You are constantly drifting purposefully toward the highest value application of your evolving skill set.
Here's where it gets really interesting, because the underlying reason these new hidden paths are opening up so rapidly is due to a massive technological shift, detailed extensively in their recent LinkedIn updates. We are talking about the fundamental transition from generative AI to agentic AI.
Yes, this transition is arguably the defining shift of our current era, and it completely alters the dynamic between the worker and the software.
SkillDrift's analysis breaks this down brilliantly. Generative AI, the tools we were all marveling at just a couple of years ago, functioned essentially as a highly capable intern.
Right.
You provide a prompt, it provides a draft or piece of code, and you take it from there. But agentic AI is functioning as an autonomous worker.
That's the key difference.
It is not just perfecting individual prompts anymore. It is building interconnected systems that execute multi-step goals across an entire software ecosystem. The software is no longer a passive tool waiting for human input. It has become the active operational backbone of the business.
This raises an important question, and it's one that SkillDrift poses directly to professionals across the spectrum, from project managers to developers to marketers.
Which is,
Are you managing the bot, or is it managing you?
wow. Yeah.
Because the tactical execution, the typing, the basic coding, the data entry, and drafting is rapidly being absorbed by the software itself. The required human pivot is a move away from tactical execution and towards strategic oversight and system orchestration.
The data they publish on developers specifically illustrates this pivot perfectly. The debate over whether AI will significantly affect coding is officially over.
Long over.
Looking at their numbers, 55% of developers are now using AI coding tools on a weekly basis, and teams integrating these tools are seeing a 2 times faster feature delivery rate.
Twice as fast.
But the most critical data point for anyone navigating the job market is this. 76% of hiring managers now actively factor AI tool proficiency into their candidate evaluations.
It has transitioned from a competitive advantage to a fundamental baseline requirement.
Absolutely.
The developers who are thriving in this environment are mastering an entirely new set of fundamentals. Beyond basic prompt engineering, they are focused on AI output verification, the critical ability to audit and validate the logic of the bot's work, as well as LLM integrations, meaning they understand how to seamlessly plug these large language models into existing corporate data pipelines.
It's validating to see the numbers confirm what a lot of us suspected. As technical execution gets automated, the premium on human skills skyrockets. If the bots are handling the heavy lifting on the tactical side, the human differentiator becomes how you apply and guide that tactical power.
The talent data synthesizes this into a concept they refer to as the rise of the new-collar worker.
New color?
By 2026, the traditional hard line separating technical from non-technical roles has essentially vanished.
Because everyone has access to the same tools.
Everyone is technical now by virtue of their AI co-pilot. Because the machine absorbs routine execution, advanced human capabilities have become the ultimate premium. Their market research shows that 93% of leaders say human skills are more important now than ever before in the history of the modern enterprise.
The specific breakdown of those human skills is fascinating, too. The data notes that intercultural skills are now valued 3.5 times more by leaders who are building high-performing teams, and the ability to build trust. That is valued 5.5 times more.
That's massive.
It paints a clear picture of this new-collar worker as a true hybrid. They blend seamless technological fluency with advanced human capabilities like complex problem framing, strategic empathy, and coalition building.
Because you need strategic empathy to deeply understand the nuanced problem the user actually faces, right?
Right.
You need the technological fluency to deploy the agentic AI to build the solution, and you need the intercultural skills and trust to convince a diverse global team to adopt and execute your vision.
That theoretical framework is powerful, but seeing how it plays out in the real world is where the value truly lies. Looking at SkillDrift's corporate profile, it's remarkable how lean their operation is. They are headquartered at 4 Calvert Street in Newport, Rhode Island, and they're listed as having just 2 to 10 employees.
Wow.
Yet they are facilitating this exact new-collar transition for over 10,000 active users globally, helping them map out these AI-augmented leadership pivots.
It is a textbook example of modern operational leverage. A very small, highly focused team building a massively scalable tool that attacks a universal pain point.
And they are attacking it with incredibly practical tools. They offer deep skill gap analysis to facilitate that DNA check we discussed, and they also feature ATS-ready resume builders. They actually have a highly viewed YouTube short titled "The Secret to Tailoring Your Resume and Beating the ATS," which addresses the reality of applicant tracking systems.
Those are brutal.
They are. Those automated software filters that instantly reject a massive percentage of applicants before a human hiring manager ever even sees them. They even offer real-time, text-based interview simulations to help users practice the final, critical mile of securing the role.
If seasoned professionals are feeling the pressure of AI unbundling their roles, it is critical to recognize how this dynamic completely removes the bottom rungs of the career ladder for those just entering the workforce.
Oh, that's a great point.
The entry-level tactical tasks that traditionally served as a low-risk training ground for young adults have been largely automated away. This creates a massive bottleneck for the newest generation of talent.
The platform's insights dispel a couple of persistent myths regarding this younger demographic, actually. There's a common narrative that teenagers and young adults are simply overscheduled and burnt out.
Right, you hear that all the time.
However, the data suggests that the core issue isn't their schedule. It's that they aren't engaging in activities that strategically broaden their experience in ways the new market demands. There is also the myth that resume building is inherently stressful for them.
Well, the stress doesn't originate from the document itself. The stress originates from a lack of direction.
Exactly.
When a young professional lacks a specific target, every possible option feels overwhelming, and attempting to build a narrative without a destination is incredibly frustrating. The platform functions as a career GPS for this demographic, allowing them to pinpoint a direction, engage in consistent activities that reinforce that specific path, and use the very AI that removed their entry-level jobs to accelerate their journey into mid-level strategy.
And the success of this GPS approach is evident across their global user base. We aren't just looking at localized success stories here. The individual platform features testimonials from professionals completely repositioning themselves. Like, instead of just listing off users, let's look closely at the reality for someone like Kunal S., who's a back-end developer from Dehradun, using it to align with future tech stacks. Or Ritika P., a copywriter based in Nagpur, India.
Copywriting is arguably one of the fields most aggressively disrupted by generative AI.
Right. It would be incredibly easy for someone in her position to succumb to the drift and get pushed out of the industry entirely.
Her situation is the perfect stress test for the platform's methodology.
And exactly how she navigated it is what makes her testimonial so compelling. She didn't try to outright the AI. She used the structured career map to identify her adjacent possible. The platform gave her clear, actionable steps to elevate her role from a tactical word generator to an AI-augmented content strategist. It provided the exact bite-sized bridges she needed to transition her career rather than abandon it.
We see a very similar psychological shift in the testimonial from Sneha R., a UX designer in Mumbai. The technical upskilling is vital, but her feedback highlights that the platform's insights provided her with the confidence required to successfully switch to a senior role.
Confidence is huge.
It is. Confidence in the current market is often a direct byproduct of clarity. When you mathematically understand your market fit, the imposter syndrome begins to fade.
It is also fascinating to see the platform utilized from the other side of the desk. We see users like Ramesh T., an entrepreneur in Coimbatore, leveraging the tool's skill analysis features not to find a job, but to make strategic hiring decisions for a startup.
Mark.
He is using the same DNA check framework to understand what adjacent skills his growing team actually needs, completely bypassing the outdated reliance on static resumes.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, this entire technological shift, despite the anxiety it causes, is not fundamentally a story about machines replacing human utility. It is about a radical restructuring of how we value and deploy human energy. There is a highly insightful perspective shared in the materials from Datan Shabana M. Hassan.
Yes, the CEO of Global Education and Concierge Services.
Exactly. She recently analyzed this dynamic with SkillDrift's founder.
Her perspective really cuts through the typical doom and gloom narrative surrounding automation.
It does. She articulated a strong belief that when applied thoughtfully and strategically, AI is not about replacing human value, but powerfully amplifying it.
Amplifying it.
By drastically reducing the friction of tactical execution and improving the speed of our decision-making, it allows professionals to redirect their finite energy away from repetitive processes and toward higher-value, impact-driven work. It is a shift from rote execution to intentional capability building.
So what does this all mean? It means that as we navigate 2026, hope is not a strategy. You cannot simply keep your head down, execute your daily tasks, and hope that your loyalty and hard work will organically be noticed and rewarded. If you do, the drift will inevitably pull you under.
It will.
Whether you are a student desperately looking for that missing first rung on the career ladder, or a seasoned professional trying to defend and grow your market value, the playbook is identical. You have to aggressively compare your current DNA to the shifting market, identify your specific skill gaps, build a rapid 6-month roadmap, and embrace your adjacent possible. We all need to stop trying to plan for 2030 and focus intensely on winning 2026.
It demands a profound shift in how we conceptualize our professional lives. You are no longer riding on a predetermined track. You are actively navigating an ever-changing terrain. But exploring all this data and the power of these talent mobility platforms raises an important question, and it is one I want to leave you to ponder long after we sign off today.
Lay it on us.
If platforms like SkillDrift are successfully utilizing highly advanced AI to perfectly optimize everyone's career paths, if the software is uncovering the exact micro skills needed, providing the perfect bite-sized learning bridges, and generating flawless ATS-beating resumes for millions of users, what happens when the entire workforce is following perfectly optimized AI-generated trajectories?
Yeah.
When everyone in the talent pool becomes a hyper-efficient, perfectly balanced new-collar worker, how will you find a way to stand out in a world where AI is successfully commoditized, professional perfection itself?
Oh, wow. That is an incredibly heavy one to chew on. The idea of perfect optimization becoming the new average baseline, it really forces you to think about what true human differentiation looks like next. Well, you have definitely given us all something deep to process. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. Stay curious, keep adapting, and we will catch you next time.